Hi everyone. Welcome to the workshop. So I hope you have watched all of our three sessions of this week and are clear with your fundamentals. So in today's session, we are will combine all the concepts which you have learned in the week one, and we'll learn we'll learn to build our very first mobile application, which is going to be a simple Amazon UI. So, but before that, tell me कि good days किसको किसको पसंद है यहाँ पे और चाहिए. Okay.
नो ज़्यादा ऑप्शन नहीं।
Okay. So for this, you need to code consistently. So, like we are going to have a contest where, like today, we are going to have four. We are going to make four projects like we are building today. So the deadline for so you have to create your own like the project which you are going to create today. You have to add your tweaks to that, and after you are done with some of the changes, and make sure that it should look unique than what we made today, that what we are making today. So after you are done with that, you need to submit that on GitHub, and the deadline for it is going to be Monday 11:59 p.m. So I'll quickly show you how you could use GitHub to and I've also created a starter file for today's build. So you can use that to uh, build you can use that to build your project for today. And I've also added the image to ease out things there. So I'll just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible to all. Lakshya, you can make a different application, but it should cover the concept which we have learned in week one. Okay, so I have pasted the link in the chat. Open this link and fork and click on fork. So what it will do is it is going to fork it to your own account, which means that it is going to duplicate the project from DSC account to your account. Okay, so now this is on your GitHub. Now what you can do is click on code and clone this thing. So we are going to now clone this to our local machine. So I'll create a folder here. Flutter was okay. So now I'm going to clone it. Git clone. Yeah. Okay, so now this thing is cloned to my local machine. Now I'll open this on my Android Studio. So open your Android Studio and open this project. So it is on my desktop. I'll click on okay. So I've opened the project. You can use VS Code as well to run your Flutter application. So for this, I'm using VS Code because Android Studio is heavy IDE and it could hit my machine because I'm also sharing the screen constantly. Okay, so when you open the project file, what you can do is get all the packages because we need all the packages to be installed because it is not locally installed in your local machine. So what you can do is go to pubspec.yml and then click on click Control S if you are using VS Code to get all the packages, or if you are using Android Studio, you can click on Get Packages. Okay, so this is how the main .dart file looks like. So the project which we are going to build today is going to be the screen, the first one, this one. Okay, so we'll start from the top. So here you can see that we have a scaffold. Like in previous video, I've told that scaffold basically gives you the just a second. Scaffold basically gives you the structure of the application or the structure of the screen. So the scaffold takes something called app bar, and it also has body, and then it also has something called bottom navigation bar. So we'll divide this thing with our in context to our UI. So you can see here we have a app bar, then we have a body, then we have a bottom navigation bar. Okay, so now this is the app bar, this is bottom navigation bar, and this is the body of our application. Now even the body has different components, as you can see here. So a body has a search bar. Okay, and then we have something called hot deals. Okay, and then we have something called popular categories. Okay, so in this way a body is categorized into three different parts: the search bar, the hot categories part, and the popular categories part. So let's first build this thing. This is the app bar. Okay, so I'm going to create a app bar here. Please let me know if you can see the text properly, or else I'll increase the font. So I'll create a app bar. Now I hope it's visible now, Sanket. Okay. So as you can see, our app bar has icon, a logo, and then it has a space between, and then we have something two icons there. So what I'm going to do is I'll have okay. Let's make a row here. Okay. So we are going to have a app bar. Inside app bar, we are going to give it a title, and title is going to be, for now let's make it only text which says Amazon, and then we don't need this to right now, so I'll delete it. Okay, so I've deleted it. So I'll even run this on my emulator. Okay, now what we want, let's install the app on our emulator to visualize the application first. Yes, Akash, it is going to be uploaded on YouTube. The text is Amazon. Okay, so this is how the application currently looks like. Now, in here you can see that my app bar has a background color of white. So I'll simply write background color and give it a color of white. So I write colors dot white, and when I save it, so when I press Control and save, it is going to hot reload. So it is going to instantly, sync my code to the UI. So you can see, but we have some shadow here, and we don't want this shadow to be there. So what I'll do is I'll type here something called elevation, and elevation. So I'll give it 0, and when I save it, when I hot reload it, you can see that the elevation goes off. Now I can see that the background of the body is not white; it is something gray. So what I'll write in scaffold, I'll again give it color of white, and when I hot reload it, the whole background gets uh, the whole background is now white. Now we don't even need this text. Now you can see that we need to have an image here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll type image dot network. So why I'm typing here network, because we are going to take this from the internet. So just a second, Amazon logo. Okay, so I hope you can see the screen. Now, what I'll do is this is the logo which we want to take in our application. So I'll just copy the link address of this image, and now I'll paste this thing in a quote. So it is a string. And when I save it, uh, I guess I have to restart the application. Okay, I guess there's some issue with the network image. What we'll do is we'll download this image. Okay, so this is SVG image, so it is not taking. What format does this image is? What I'll do is I'll first download it, and we can use it as a local image. So I have downloaded this image, and now we have a folder called assets. Now what I'll do is I'll place the image which we have. Stop, okay, save image. Okay, so I'll now place this image in our asset folder. Now what I'll do is I'll rename it to Amazon logo.png. Okay, so now what I want this image to be shown here in the app bar. So I'll just give the path of this image. So I'll copy the relative path of it, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, it is running on Windows, so give it a forward slash. Okay, I have to change this to asset because we are taking this. Okay, so now you can see that logo is here. Now the logo should be smaller than what it is now. So what we can do is give it a width of 50. No, it's too small. I'll give it 100. Okay, so I guess this is perfect size. Now, now what we want to have is, now we want this two icons to be there on the app bar. So uh, as you can see, this action is a list. So it can take the list of widgets. So in this, I'll give it a list of widgets. So now we are going to have a icon, and I can give icons dot star. Okay, so when I save it, okay, so it should have color of color dot black. I hope you can see this icon here. I'll just remove this debug banner from the screen. Debug and show. Okay, now we have a star logo, and then we are going to have a menu logo. Cool. So I'll type icon, and then inside icon we want icons dot menu. Okay, so you can preview this icons here. If you're using VS Code and in Android Studio also, you can preview it. So currently we don't have the same icon that we are seeing in the UI. So we are going to, for this case, we are going to take the menu icon, which is a hamburger menu. Then I'm going to give it a color of colors dot black. Okay, so you can see that we should have a space between these two icons, and Amazon logo should be placed in the starting of the screen. So I could simply type a widget here, which is called spacer, and when I save it, you can see that now we have Amazon icon at the starting of the screen, and these two icons at the end of the screen horizontally, or you can say it in a row. Okay, so Sanket, it's already added. So if you add you just add the folder name in the assets, it's going to take whole images as its path. Okay. So now, but it's not looking like what the UI is. So we want this rounded container, or you can say it's a circle avatar. So what we can do is uh, we are going to wrap this up with something called wrap with container, and then container I could give it a height of 30 and width of 30, and when I save it, I'll just give it a colors dot gray, and when I save it, you can see this, but the height is quite large. Mm, okay, so I'll give it a margin dot all and save it to 10. So now you can see that we have a margin all over the border of the container. But now we want this container to have the rounded circle. So I could just give decoration, and I have another widget called box decoration, and inside that I could change the shape of the container. So I could just write border radius, and we have another widget called border radius dot circular, and anything greater than 25 will have a round. Okay, so it is giving me error because I have declared color outside the decoration. If you're giving a decoration property, it should be inside the box decoration. So I'll just cut this thing up from here and paste it here, and when I save it, you can see that the error goes off. Now, okay, so now we want the same thing to be there with this the hamburger menu. So I'll add a widget here, container, and we are going to give it a margin of 10. Okay, now we are going to have decoration, and we are going to give it color of colors dot gray. Okay, now let's give it a border radius. So I'll type border radius, and in border radius dot all will give it value of 25. Okay, border radius dot we want border radius dot circular 25. Okay, now we also want some padding between this icons. Okay, so you can similarly type your padding, and you have to write this thing edge insert dot all to 10. So what I could do is I could add all this thing in the row. Okay, just a second. Okay, and now what I'll do is wrap this thing with a widget called container. Now, why I'm wrapping this thing inside a container, because I want this thing to take the height, take the width of the whole screen. So I simply write with media query dot of context dot size dot width into 100. Okay, so now it is going to take the width of the screen. Okay, now again I can use the spacer. So this thing, we have this thing at the starting and this at the ending, but we also want some padding between the Amazon icon and this. So inside the container, you can type padding and edge inserts dot all, or you can just give it symmetric. So from horizontal, I want a padding of 10. So now you can see that it has a padding of 10. Okay. Now what I'll do is instead I can now give it height 30 by 30. Now you can see that it's circle. Now I'll repeat the same thing for the hamburger menu, and now what I'll do is we have I could give it size of 10 maybe. I'll increase the size to 50. Mm, okay. So as you can see that we are done with the app bar. So now it's time for us to do this. Let's do this bottom navigation bar first. Okay. 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 So this is giving us a warning because we have not added the constant value here. So I'll just type constant. Okay. So now in scaffold, we also have a property called bottom navigation bar. So I'll in the bottom, I'll add a property called bottom navigation bar. Now again, I'll wrap this thing in a container. Now the container is going to have a height of 100 and width of the size of the screen. So as you can see that we are using this thing many times. So instead of using this again and again, what I'll do is I'll create a variable here. I could give constant size uh, width equal to media query dot of context of size dot height. Okay, and double size dot height dot width. Okay, so it's double. Okay, so let's ignore this thing and do with the same method here. So we are again going to have a width of the whole screen. So I'll type take the width of the whole screen. Now we are going to have here a home button, a search button, and something which shows the total amount in your cart. So as you can see that this whole thing is in row. So I'll in child of container I'll type row, and now row is going to have children. Now this takes the list of widgets, right? So now I could the first thing which I see here is this icon. So I'll wrap this thing in a container. First, let's see the if the height is what we want. Colors dot red. Okay, yeah. So now we can type here. I want height to be 70 and width to be 100. Okay, and it should have border radius of circle. So I just have to write border decoration, and in border decoration I have to write border radius, and I'll give it border radius dot circle of 25. So remember that anything which is greater than 25 will make the container circular. So now what we can do is we'll give it a property color, colors dot colors dot white. So you can see that we have something. Okay, so if you give 20, if you want this to be circular, make sure that the height and the width should be same. But in our case, you can see that this thing is not exactly circular; it's oval, right? So I'll increase it to 30, maybe, yeah. So I'll also decrease it to, I guess, 90. Okay. So now inside this container, we have a logo. So I'll now a container will also have a child because we want the logo inside the container. So I'll just type child, and in child we are going to have icons. Now which icon I want? I want icon of home. So I'll simply write icons dot home. Okay. So home, you can home. Okay. So we want this thing to be there. I'll write constant, and when I save it, you can see that we have a logo. But this background is not matching with the UI what we want. So I'll simply copy the code of this. Okay. So to give the custom font, to give the custom color to to the background of the container, I have to write color, and in color or paste the code which we have copied, and at the starting of it just type 0xff. Okay, so now we are going to have a custom color. When I save it, you can see that this thing is changed to colors.orange. Now I'll paste this color code in the chat box. Okay, so now as you can see that we also don't want the background to be red. We will change it to colors dot white. Okay, so now you can see that it is sticking to the screen, to the side of the screen. But we can solve this thing by using something called, again, padding. So remember that padding is always inside the container and margin is always outside the container. So in this I'll give edge inside dot symmetric, because we want it to have it should leave the distance from both the side, like horizontally from both the sides. So I'll simply give it horizontal and type 10. Now you can see that we have a space between this icon and the side of the screen. Okay. Now what we want to have. Okay, so this thing should have color of white, not black. So I can also change the color of icon by using the color property, and then we are going to have colors dot white. Now when I save it, you can see that the color of the icon changed, and now I also want to increase the size. So I'll just type size to 20, and when 30, yeah, 35 would be great. Okay, so now we have the button. Now let's copy this same thing, because we just need to change the color. And so now instead of home, I'll type here search, and the color should be black, and the background color should be, let's take this color too. This is the color code. I have pasted this code in chat box. Okay, so okay, so you can see that we have this thing. Now, what if I want a space between this, but horizontally? So again, you can use the margin, because we want the space to be outside the container, not inside. Because for inside we use padding, and for outside we use margin. So I'll just type your margin, and edge inside dot symmetric, or you can just type only, because we only want the margin to be from the left side. So I'll type here left, and from left I want a margin of 10. So okay, okay, so we are done with this. Now what we want is this cart value to so what I'll do is, now again you can see that the cart there is some space between the cart value. So I can use a widget called spacer, which increases the width between the what we say between the widgets. Okay, now we want a container. Okay, but the width of the container will increase to maybe 150. Okay, 150, and it will have the total price in the cart, and also the number of items in the cart. So again, you can see that in the container we have this thing in a row. Okay, so inside the container, what I'll do, the child is going to be row, and as you know, the row takes the list of widgets. So inside the list of widget, we are going to have a text and a circle container, and in circle container again we are going to have a child, which gives a total number of products you have in your cart. So what I'll do here is I'll type text, and in text I'll just give it a dummy value, which is going to be rupees 7654. Okay, when I refresh it, you can see that we have a value. We'll style it afterwards, and then we want a suck and we want the quantity, the total number of products in a circle container. But instead of using a container which is circular, I could also use something called a circle avatar. Okay, so when I save it, you can see that we have a circle, and which is a container, but it is a circular. We don't have to write so much of code to make it circle. Now the color of the circle avatar should be this, which we have for home. So what I'll do is I'll copy this code, which is orange, and I can change the background color to color, and I enter the code here. You can see that it has changed the color. Okay. Now, so inside the circle avatar, we want a text, which which so if you want something inside a widget, you just type child, and in child we are going to have a text which gives us the number of or the total number of products in the cart. So when I give it 3, you can see that it's not the text is not properly visible. So I could just change the color. To change the style or the color of the text, you have to use a property of it which is called style, and inside style it is going to take another widget, because Flutter is all about widget. So it takes another widget which is known as text style, and in text style it is going to take color. So when you give color and you type colors dot white, you can see that but we want this thing to be bold now. So I could simply give a comma here, and I could write font font weight to font weight dot bold. So when now the text is bolder. Okay, but now again I want some space between the what we say the text and the circle avatar. So I could simply give a property to row where we can have the children inside it. So I'll just type here main axis alignment. As we have talked in our previous session, that the main axis alignment for the row is going to be the horizontal, and for column it is going to be vertical. So in main axis alignment, I'll type here around. So you can see that now the text and the circle container or the circle avatar has the space around between them, like from the left side also and between them also. Okay, now something. Okay, okay. So now we can build our search bar. So now to build search bar, it should be in the body of the what do we say row. So what we can do is, but let's this thing is looking lighter, so I'll increase the weight of it. So I'll just type style and text style and font weight to font weight dot bold. Okay, so now it is bolder. Now let's write code for body. Now we have a scaffold. Inside the scaffold we have a upper and a bottom navigation bar. Now what we want is body. So I'll simply write body here, and the body is again going to be a container because whatever things which we are going to have is going to be under the container. Okay. So in this I'll give the height to it, the height of the screen. So I'll write media query dot of context dot size dot height. So now the height of the container is going to be the height of the screen, and in a similar way I will change width to media query dot size dot width. So in this way we have now container. It is not visible because the background color is white. Now I'll change it to colors dot red. Now when I refresh it, you can see that the whatever the space which is remaining is red now. Okay. So now what we'll do is they all are going to have a child, and now you can see that this all are in column. Like it's you can see that this below this it is hotels, and below hotels we are going to have popular category. So it is vertically aligned. So what you can say that it is column. So in the child we'll have something called column, and as we have column, it takes multiple child. So child is children, and inside children we now we are going to have just a second. Okay, so now we are going to have we'll remove the this first. Okay, so now let's see this. We are going to have a search bar, right? So now the search bar is going to be a container. I'll add a comment here, search bar. Okay, now the the height of this container is going to be 50 maybe, and then we are going to have the width. Now again I want this to have to be the width of the whole screen. So I'll change. I'll what's the error about? Okay, so now this children, you can see this children has inside it has a text field. in which you can type something, and then we have a search icon. So I'll just as a child it takes row, and row is going to have children, and inside children we have a text field, and after text field we are going to have icon, and icon should be of search. So I will type icons dot search. Um, okay, so let's have a background color. So let's start red. Mm, into 0.8 maybe, into 0.8. Where body is going to be height 0 point colors dot red. Okay, okay, so I don't know what's the error. Let's see. Okay, so what it says is mm, the body is going to be container. Container is going to be height and width of this. Am I doing something wrong here? Okay, just let me clear this thing and then save it and restart the application. There's no problem. So what I'll do is I'll again write this code. I have a container. Okay, container is going to have a height of 100 with of the query dot of context dot size. Okay, so you can see that the row, there should be a row. Now row is going to have children. So the first thing which we are going to have is a text field. Okay, so this was the widget which was giving us an error. So it is because we have not given the size to the text field. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this thing with the container, and and, and I'll give it width, which is 80. Cool. So now we don't have error. So I'll just remove this color of red. Okay. Uh, Instead of 80, let's do it 100. Let's do it 80, and then color to colors dot red. Okay. So now we want the padding between the horizontal screen. So I'll write simply write here padding edge insets dot symmetric, because we want it to be symmetric. It should have a symmetric padding from left and right. So I'll just give it padding and horizontal to 10. So yeah. So now we have a padding between them. Uh, And then, as you can see, and we also don't want this underline for the text field. So what I'll do is in text field decoration input border dot none. Inside input decoration we should have decoration. Just a second. Okay, so the input decoration is going to have border, but we don't want any. So I'll just type border and input border dot none. Okay, when I save it, you can see that the border goes off. And we also want a hint text to be there. So I can just write hint text. And so hint text is going to be a widget text. Okay, so by default it is going to take just a second. So I'll type here search for something. Okay, so when I see here, uh, when I save it, you can see that we have something written here. Search for something. Okay, when I save it, now you can see that we have a text field here. So after the text field, what we want is this text icon, text button, which says show all. Okay. So as the name says text button. So the widgets in Flutter is quite self-explanatory. So you will just we want a space between them. So I'll just type spacer and not here below it. So I'll type here spacer, and after spacer we want a icon there. So I can just give icon and icons dot what do we want, a search. Okay, when I save it you can see that we have a search icon here. Now we don't want this color to be red, so I remove this. And it is, it has a border radius all around. Okay, so I can just I can also give it a margin. So I'll just type margin, and in margin it should have the padding from horizontal. And now I'll just give it decoration. So I'll type box decoration to decorate a container. Now the box decoration should have a radius. So border radius dot circular to maybe 30. Okay, and the color should be, let's see what color it is. So yeah, so the color is color. When I save it, you can see that we have a search bar now, but the height is quite big. So what I'll do is uh, I'll give it height of 50. Yeah, so this is looking exactly what we have in the UI. Okay, so and let's increase the font, the space between the app bar and the body. So what I can do is and I can give margin, and the margin should have the space at top. So I'll just type only, and in top I'll write maybe 20. Now you can see that we have space between the app bar and the, what we say, the search. So the search menu. Okay, so we are done with this. Now let's build this thing, the hot deal part. So it's a column, and so after this container, after the search container, what I want is I want to have something called container, we are going to have another container. Okay, sorry. We are going to have a container. Now this container is going to be the hot deals part. So as you can see that we have a row which says hot deals, and in that row we are having an icon button which is show all. Then we have this what we say uh, scrollable list view. So this thing is in column, right? So in container, I'll give it a child, and the child should have a column, and the column has the column is going to have children, and the first thing it is going to have is a row. Why row? Because this hot deal and show all is in a row. So I'll type row is also going to have a children, and in children I'm going to give it a text, and the text says hot deals. Okay, so now we have hot deals, and after hot deals we are going to have a spacer, which is going to make space between the two widgets. So we have a spacer now, and after spacer I'm going to have a text button. Okay, so button is, so when I press it, the press part on press is going to be a function. Okay, so I'll give it a function. Now it is not going to do anything, so I have left it blank. Now text button is going to take a child, and in our case it is going to be a text. The text says show more, and then we have this arrow. Okay, so you can see this, we have a text button, but what we can do is we can change the color of this text button. Okay, so in text I'll type style text text style, which is again a widget, and in text style it is going to take color, and for us it is going to be the uh, the orange color, this one. So I'll paste the code of this of the color, so you can see that it is orange now. I'll also make this thing bold. So I'll type here font weight dot bold. And when I save it, you can see that it is now bolder. Now again, I want what do you say, padding between them. So I want this thing to be moved to right from the last part of the screen, and to the sorry to yeah to right from the starting part of the screen. So what I'll do here is uh, this row is going for this row. I could just give it I could just wrap this thing with padding, and instead of all, what I'll do is I'll type here symmetric, and in symmetric I can give it a padding of horizontal, and it is going to have a value of 10. So when I refresh it, you can see that the whole thing is has been moved. Okay, uh, constant. Okay, just ignore this value because it is asking us for the constant. Now what we can do is what is left in the UI is this container. Okay, so as you can see that let's build this thing first. Let's give it. We are going to have there's a widget called size box. So what does size box do is you can see that there is some space between the this row and this row. So what I'll do is I'll I'll give it a space of height 20. Okay, so now whatever widget I write here is going to be uh, 20 pixels below it. Okay, so now I have to write let's build first a container, just a one single container, and I'll give it a height of 300 and width of 100, and give it a color. Okay, so what's the color? So you can see that this is a gray, same gray color. So the same two colors are used throughout the application. So I could write color, and in color I could paste this thing. So you can see that just a second. I'm doing this same thing inside the row. So instead of doing it inside the row, I'm going to come out of the row and not do this thing. Okay, now it's fine. So the width is going to be 300. Okay, now let's decrease it to 250 by 250. Yeah, perfect. Now we also want this container to have a border radius of 10 pixels because it is rounded from the corner. So what I'll do is type decoration, and in box decoration, I have to write radius, border radius, and box decoration should have border radius should have border radius dot circular, and the value should be 10. And when I save it, okay, so it is again giving us error because we have used border decoration, but we have uh, added color to the root to the root property of the container. So I'll save it. Now you can see that we have a rounded container. Now let's see what we want inside the container. So inside the container we have another container. Then we have a row which says Airport Pro, and there is a space between, and then again a text. Then after that we have a row which says the company name and the delivery time it is going to take. Okay, so as you can see, this again, this thing is in the column, right? So what I'll do here is uh, I'll give it child, and in child it is going to be column, and column is again going to have children. So in children we are going to have a container which is smaller than what smaller than its parent. So height is going to be maybe 100 and width is going to be 100. And the decoration, box decoration, box decoration, you can see that is of colors dot white. And so what I'll do is I'll type a color and give it colors dot white. Okay. Now what we are going to have is let's increase the size by 150 by 150 maybe. Yeah. So now we also want this to have rounded corners. So and, you can just type border radius and give it a property widget called border radius dot circular. Then again write the pixel which you want. So I have typed 10. Okay. So now we have a container. So you can see that inside the container we have the what do we say, image. Okay. So what I'll do here is the image inside the container is on center. Okay. So what I'll do is this container is going to have a child. Now child is going to be an image, and we have image in our assets. So I'll type this, but I also want the image to be placed in the center of the container. So I'll wrap this thing in center. And now I have to give the path of the image. So I have already added a file here, which is a product list. Okay. So the product list has name, price, company name, image path. So we want image path. So as you can see that it is a list. So what I'll do here I'm doing it for example. I'll write product list, and I want the first value of it, and I want the image. Okay. Okay. So when I save it, I have to restart the application. Oh, what's happening here? Hmm, image dot asset, we are giving it a value. What it says, unable to load assets slash image. Okay. Unable to load assets slash image. So assets, what we'll do is okay, I got it. So uh, I have to remove this image from here because when I save it, restart this thing. What it says, nothing, nothing. Copy the relative path. Toward, okay, so now we have the image, and the image, let's decrease the size of the image. So I'll give it a width of maybe 100. Cool. So this thing is working now. And we can also see that there is some space between the parent container and this container. Okay. So what I'll do here is, mm, container, I'll give it a margin. Okay. So I'll give it a margin, edge insets dot. I want the margin only from top. So I'll write top, and from top I want 10 pixel, 20 pixel, sorry, 20 pixel. Yeah, so this is the perfect thing which we wanted. Now we also want two rows here. In one row it is the price, it is the name of the product and the price of the product. So we have done with this, we are done with this. Now we are going to have a row is going to have a children. Now we have a text which says, uh, I'll type here product list dot product list 0, and you also want this property, uh, name of the product. Okay, so I just type name. Now you can see that the name of the product is here. Now after the name, we are also going to have another thing, which is the price. Okay, but you can see that there is a space between them. So I'll just use spacer, and then again I'll write text, and I'll copy this thing here, paste it here, and instead of name we want the price. So I'll just type price, and when I save it, you can see that we have a price now. But let's make it bold. So what I'll do is I'll type style text style, and text style is going to have font weight, and I want the font weight to be bold. So now you can see that the font is bolder. So I'll copy this same thing and paste it here, because we want the same thing to be there in. Okay, so we have this. Now after this row, we have another row which says the product, the company which the product is of, and the delivery time. So I'll just copy the row again, and I paste it here. I'll paste it here, and we don't need this thing to be bolder. So I'll remove this type, and instead of I'll show the company name. So I'll write company name, and instead of price, I'll show the delivery time. So I'll type here delivery time, and when I save it, now you can see that we have we have this thing. Now let's do something. Okay, let's have a, what we say, size size box of height 10. So we are using this because we want to commit 10 units below the image. We'll bring it more down to 20. Okay. So, and again, we also want this to have a size of size between, distance between them. So I'll give it a height of 10, or let's say 5. Okay. Now we also want this thing to have, what we say, padding from both the side. So again, we can use the same thing. We can use widget which is padding, and instead of all, I'll give symmetric, and I'll type horizontal. From horizontal I want to 10 units. Okay, so I'll copy this same thing, and I'll wrap this row, the below row again with padding, and instead of this I'll paste this thing, and I save it. Now you can see that it's looking better. So we are done with the card. Now, what if we want many cards? Like you can see that in the UI, we have more than one card. So will I code all the cards? No. There's something called list view, which will list view dot builder, which is going to take, the list, this list, and from this list, we are going to show the container one by one, right? So what I'll do here is you can see that this is the container which we are using for this thing, right? So what I'll do here is with 200. Okay. So now, instead of having a row, which is not needed now, what I'll do is I'll remove. Uh, 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 okay. Just a second. I'll go through the code. Search for some time. Okay. So what we'll do is I'll type. I'll type list list view, and this list view is going to be of type builder. So I'll type dot builder. Okay. Now this list view is going to take the total count of the items. So we are going to have product list dot length. So the count of the item is going to be the length of this list which we have created in the constants dot dart. Okay. So and we also want a item builder. So item builder takes context, which tells the Flutter that this list view is present in the that part of the tree, and it also takes index, and it returns a widget now. Okay, so the widget which it is going to what we say return is going to be this container, this one, but instead of creating a static value, we are going to give it a dynamic value now. Oh, sorry, not this container. See more. So we have container which is show more. This container. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll cut this container from here. Okay, and I'll have it here in the what do we say in the list view. And when I save it, now it is giving us an error because we want it to have just a second. I'll cut this thing. I want the list view to be uh, below this hotels part. So what I'll do is I'll paste it here, and now instead of showing this thing manually, just huh. So now what I'll do is instead of showing the images manually, what I'll do here is the image which I want is product list, and in product list I want it to be of this index which is going to iterate over the list. And now inside the list I'm going to uh, type what we call here image path. So I'll type image path and do like this, and okay. Okay, so now we have a image path, and after the image path I'll copy the same thing. After this image path we need the name, so instead of giving it 0 I'll type index, and instead of taking the price of the zero index I'll again give it the index, and I'll also change it to 0. And when I save it, Okay, so we need to give the height to this list view. So I'll wrap this thing with a container and I'll give it a height of 300, 200, 300, 300. Okay. Now this thing is coming in a row, right? But we don't want it to be in a row. We want this thing to be in a horizontal, in the horizontal. So, sorry, it is coming in a vertical manner, but we want it to be horizontal. So what I'll do here is I'll simply type uh, scroll direction and give it axis dot horizontal. So when I save it, you can see that now this thing is having the property of it is scrolling from the horizontal from left to right. Okay. Now what I'll do, let's make it 250. Sorry, 250. And we also want there should be a margin between the each container. So I'll simply give a margin here, margin, and it is going to be edge insets dot. I'll type horizontal, symmetric, and horizontal 10. When I save it, you can see that now we have space between them, right? So this image is not showing because we have, okay, so now it is. Okay, so now we have image in the inside the containers. Okay, so now we have successfully created this part of the UI, this one. Now let's do this popular categories. Okay, so we are done with this list view. Now, now we are going to have some space between them, and I'll give it a space of height 10 pixel again. And after this, I want uh, this thing is in a row. Now, as you can see that we have popular categories and after popular categories again we are repeating the same widget, right? So we'll not do this. Instead of what we can do, we are not going to rewrite the component again and again. Instead of that, we are again going to write the list view. So I'll just give it a heading now. So let's have a container again, and container, and we are going to have a child which is going to have a property column, and the column is again going to take many children, which is it is going to take list of widgets. So we have text which says popular categories. So I'll type here popular categories. Okay. So after the popular categories, what we want is we want this container, but we want many of the container which shows the categories, right? So let's build this thing first. Okay. When I save it, I'm going to have what do I say, style, text style, and text style should be of font weight bold. So I want this to be bolder. Okay. So now it's bold, but as you can see that. Hmm, okay, so as you can see that this is coming in the middle of the screen, but we don't want it to be the middle of the screen. So what we can do is in the body, as you can see that just a second, bar. Okay, so we have a column here. By default, it is placing everything in the center. So what I'll do here, as you can see that we are moving from left to right. We want to move from left to right, but in column, the main axis alignment is from top to bottom. So the cross axis alignment is going to be from left to right. So in cross axis alignment, I'll type cross axis alignment dot start. Uh, okay, so like I think we have another column. So I'll copy this thing. After this column, we have again this column. Now you can see that we have it is, in the starting of the screen, right? So what I can do again here is that I'll give it a padding edge insets dot symmetric horizontal 10. Okay, so it is coming 10 units to the uh, uh, right side. So after that, what we want is we want this thing. So it is going to be there is a container, and inside a container we have a row. So inside row we have three widgets. First is this container, second is this text field, and third is this what do we say, arrow. Okay, so let's create this thing. After text field, after text field we are going to have a row. The row is going to have a children, and in children we are going to have uh, three widgets. So the first widget is going to be a container. The second widget is going to be a text. The third widget is going to be a arrow. But you can see that the arrow is the space between the category and the arrow is for that we can use spacer, which makes the space between the widgets. So I type space, and in text I can give it like this. And here we are going to have category name. Okay, when I save it, you can see that we have category name, then we have arrow. We are not able to see the container because we have not mentioned the height and width of it. So I'll just type height of 30 maybe, width then width of 30. Okay, so now you can see that we have some space between them. Now, as you can see that this row is has a parent of container. So what I'll do here is simply click Control and dot if you're using VS Code. If you're using Android Studio, you can simply tap on Alt and Enter. Then wrap this thing with a container. Now this container, everything in the container is going to have padding, and for this I'm going to give it all 10. Okay, and the color of the content, let's decorate it. Let's give it a height of maybe 55, and width, I want the width to take the width of the screen. So I'll type width dot context dot size dot width. When I save it, we have we have a container which is now invisible, but it is taking the width of the screen. So I'll decorate it. So I'll give it a property decoration, and in decoration we have again a widget which is called box decoration. So in decoration, I could simply give it color. The color is going to be color, this one, and when I save it, you can see that we have a background color now, but it is not rounded. So what I'll do is I'll write border radius dot, I want it to be circular, so I'll type dot circular and I'll give it a value which is 10. What's happening here? border radius border border radius dot circular 10. um Border radius dot circular. Okay, so I'll paste it here. The constructor call is in constant construct. Okay. Okay, so now we have, uh, but I want it to be, we have to be 10 pixels circular. So it is 10 pixels circular now. So now let's uh, create the colors dot white. Now you can see that we have a container inside a container which is of color white. I'll increase the size of it to 40 by 40, and when I increase it, you can see that the size is increased. Now inside this we are having a icon. Okay, so I have icon of let's say we have headphones. I'll copy the relative part of it. Now it is going to be child. Now the headphone inside the container is in center. So uh, I'll give the parent to the image as center, and then I'll type image dot asset because it is in the local file, and give it a path. Uh, okay, when I save it, you can see that we have what we say, the icon. Now let's increase the size of the icon first. Image.asset width to 30, maybe 25. Okay, so now we have width, but as you can see that we want some space between this headphone and this category's name. So I'll just type size box, and as the space between them should be horizontal, so I'll give it a width, and then I'll type 20. And when I save it, you can see that we now have space between the icon and the category name. Okay, so now so now we have popular category coming in. So I'll again type cross axis alignment dot start. When I save it, it comes here. But now we want space between this popular category and this thing. So what I'll do here is I'll remove this thing from here and place above it, and give it a padding dot symmet- symmetric. It should be horizontal 10 pixels. When I save it, it comes here. Now I'll increase the height between the heading and the container. Okay. So what if I want many of the containers like this? I want the category name. So what I simply do is, okay, so we have orange color of this button of this one. So I'll style it text style, and I'll type color and give it a custom color which is 0xff, and then I'll also give it a font weight and font weight dot bold. When I save it, it is bolder, but I guess I have to increase the size of it. So I'll simply type font size. I'll increase to 20. Let's increase to 25. Okay, so this is something which we wanted. Now let's build a list, constant list, which is going to be the list of categories. And as it is list, I'm going to open the bracket. So in this list this list is going to be of type object. Okay, so I've created the braces, and first thing which we want is the icon path. So I'll type here icon and path, and then the icon path is again going to be of type string. After icon path, I want the category name, so I'll simply type your name, and then again give it a string. So first we are going to have headphones. I'll copy this thing up. We want headphone, then we want laptops, headphones, laptops, then we have mobile mobile phones, and then we have speakers. Okay, now I'll just paste the path of the image, which is going to be this headphone. We have headphone, and then we have for laptop we have copy the relative path. I'll copy this laptop. Now we have mobile phone. For mobile phone, again we have icon. I'll copy the relative path of it, paste it here. And then for speaker, copy the related path and I'll paste it here. Okay. So now we have created a list of categories. Now let's create a list view first. So as I said earlier, that list view is going to iterate over the list. So I'll create list view and then I'll create a builder because we already have a list and we want to iterate over it. So I'll create a builder and then it asks for a property called item count. Okay, item count. So what is the number of the number of total categories we have in this list? So what I'll do is I'll copy the name and type this dot length. So it gives us the length of the uh, length length of the list or length of the categories. Now we are going to have item builder. So what does item builder take? So it takes context, which tells that this list view is in that part of the tree in the Flutter, and then it also gives us index. Okay. Now then it returns us a what we say return us a widget. Now for us this is going to be this whole widget. So I'll copy this widget first. Okay, I've copied this and I'll paste it here. Okay, so now what I want is this thing to be dynamic, the icon to be dynamic. So what I'll do here is instead of giving it a static path, I'll give it a dynamic image path. So what I'll do here is list of categories. I want it to be of index. Then I want the icon path. So I'll type icon path and give it an exclamation sign because why I'm giving it an exclamation sign because I'm telling Flutter that I'm okay if the path is going to be null. Okay. Then as we so when I refresh it, okay. So I missed something here. Okay, so we then I'll also change the category name from this to I'll copy it again and then we are going to have a text. That text is going to take a value, but this time it is going to be the name. So I'll type name and give it this. Now, as you can see that we have to give this list view dot builder a height. So I'll wrap this thing in a container and container I'll give it a height of 300 maybe. Okay. So, okay, so we have error here. I'll save it. Uh, okay, so what I'll do is 20, 100, 200. You don't actually have to do it like this. We have not used what we say dynamic size. We have not given all the widget dynamic size. So we have to use it on the basis of trial and error. Now again, you can see that we don't have this margin between this containers, the category container. So what I'll do here is in the main container, I'll type margin, and the margin is going to be sets dot symmetric. Now I want it to have a space between them, but vertically. So I'll type vertical and give it a unit of 10 pixels. Now you can see that we have categories. So in this way, we have completed this whole application, right? Now let's see how you could submit your what was first. Do you have any doubt till now? If you're clear, you can type thumbs up in the message. Okay, cool. So what we'll do here is now it's time for submission. Now you have done this project. To submit it, but make sure that you have done some edits. It should look different from what we made today. It should have some tweaks, right? So in this case, what I'm going to do is, as you know that I forked it before starting the session. So I forked it. Now what I'll do here is I'll open the terminal and I'll type git status. This is going to you know tell us the status that this file uh, is not yet what do we say committed in GitHub. So what I'll do here is type git add dot. Okay, then I'll type git commit and this message and type here this is my submission. Okay, and I enter. Now I'll push this code to the GitHub. So I'll simply type git push and enter. So now this thing has been pushed to my repo on my own account. So when I refresh it, you can see that this is my submission. In the library, you can see that whatever code we have written comes here. Now, now as we have this thing in a GitHub, you can just what you can do here is go to pull request. Sorry, just a second. What you can do is okay. So click on contribute and click open pull request. Okay. So once you open the pull request, uh, it will ask you to write a message. I can't see here. Okay, so as it is not asking us to write a message, what you can do is simply click on create pull request. Yeah, so it is now asking for the what do we say message. So in this, you have to write your name. So for me, it is going to be Aniket Singh, and the week number which we have submitted for. So this is for week one. So I'll write week one, and I'll create a pull request. When I create a pull request, in this way, you have submitted the code to us. Now we are going to see if the code is what we wanted. And then we are going to, in this basis, you should have a total of 4 projects. So every week we are going to create a project. So total of 4 projects is needed for you to be eligible to get goodies from Google Developer Student Club GHRC. Okay. So Sanket says we have to create Amazon like site or something other than this. You can create something other than this, but it has to cover all the basics layout and the widgets, which we have learned. Yeah, yeah, Akash, you can create another e-commerce site too. Okay, so I hope things are clear now. So we can wind up this session. It was a long session though. Uh, okay, so yeah, we'll wind up the session. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you, Sanket.